Hello everyone, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button, a junk journal and a slow stitch, and today is Monday, and for the next few Mondays we're going to do something called a mindful make, and that's where we make something really simple. It could be slow stitch or a junk journal or something thereof. It could be just some cutting out. We're going to have a little bit of a theme where we have a chat about that theme, and then we're going to end with a short meditation. Now, I did one of these last Monday and I've had such a lovely response. It may not be my most watched video last week, but I think because people expressed that they enjoyed it, I feel it's the most connected video that I did last week, and I'm all about connection. So today I've got my embroidery floss that I found in a charity shop a few weeks ago and bought a jar to fit it all in. I've got some blue thread, and we're going to make a pocket full of happiness. Now, I'm going to make a rice bag, and if you, I think, what day was it? It was when I did the winner announcement. I showed you a rice bag made by my grandmother-in-law, and I want to make one, but I thought I would make the rice bag out of 4 pockets from jeans or other trousers that I can find, and that on each pocket I would have a sort of saying. This is the first one: a pocket full of happiness. So this is a quote that an English actor called Richard E. Grant sort of coined, and it was a challenge that his wife gave to him shortly before she died, for him to find with their daughter, a pocket full of happiness. And he wrote a book about his life and how he finds pocketfuls of happiness. I've not read it yet, but it is on my list to read. I think I'll have it narrated because he speaks so beautifully. I'll get the audio version of it, do a bit of crafting. And I love the saying, and I love the notion of a pocket full of happiness. So I thought I would just simply talk about my pocketfuls of happiness. You can find Richard E. Grant on the internet, and you can read his book. If you really want a lovely Richard E. Grant interview, there's one from Waterstones about his book, and then there's another that's if you put Richard E. Grant house into YouTube, there's a tour of his house, and it's such a lovely English country eccentric house. If you're into vintage things, you'd love it. But we're going to leave Richard there because we need to find our own pockets full of happiness. So recently I asked my family to find photographs from our childhood, and I have a project that's bubbling along in the background where I'm going to make 4 junk journals, one for each child, because it's 4 children, my siblings. And there's going to be photographs from our childhood, and then we're going to have the opportunity to write questions to our mum for us to answer, and then we have this sort of little family record that's very personal to whoever's book it is. And the kind of things that I've found to put in the books are pictures of childhood toys, thinking about places we used to go on holiday, our one infamous pet, Tom the cat, got a back garden, and it's a massive sycamore tree. It was everything, that tree. It was somewhere where you could climb up and sway in the very high branches until my mum would come out and scream at us. It was somewhere you could go and find a comfy branch and read a book to get away from annoying siblings. It's a place to build tree houses. At its base, it was numerous Star Wars locations. There's probably a few £1,000 worth of toys buried at the bottom of it. Or there was. Because we left that house after 17 years of living there. And I'm not going to go into why, but the people who bought the house after us, they took the tree down. This lunchtime I called my mum. If I've got a few minutes in the day, and to be honest with you, I'm not very good at finding a few minutes in the day. And when I do find a few minutes in the day, often she's busy and doing something. Not in a horrible way. She'll tell me what she's doing quite happily. And then I say, well, I love you, Mum. I'll let her get on with it. So today I called her. She said, oh, I'm out with Irene. Where are you, Mum? She said, you'll never guess where I am. She said, I'm in Ridyard Street. Now, Ridyard Street is a street next door to the street, the Avenue, that I lived in. I said, what are you doing there? Oh, we're going to the dentist with Irene. She said, we're waiting for a taxi. She said, I've been telling Irene about the back garden. She says, and then I saw Alan. Alan was one of the people who was our neighbours, still lives in Ridyard Street, and was reminiscing to my mum about the back garden, and particularly the big tree. Apparently his wife Joyce cried when they took it down. Because that tree was sort of synonymous with children playing in that back garden. And not just us 4 children, that would be enough, but lots of children. Children from all over. Some of them I don't really remember playing with. So they were reminiscing about the back garden. And my mum was telling Irene about how she would make cheese sandwiches for the children that would come over. And that it was just referred to as the park. And often she'd find that there would be lots of children in the back garden, but they wouldn't be her own, because we would have gone somewhere else and left a load of kids in the back garden. We had our bikes. We had a life. There was other things we got to remember. The time that my dad rescued a load of books from a school skip. Bin bags full of Ladybird books. Brought them back. And after I'd had my pick and we'd all chosen ones that we wanted, they got given out to various people around the estate. We didn't really have much. Nobody did on that estate. A really happy time. So many joyful memories. Plenty of things to put in the pocket. My niece has been looking through the photographs. You know, I think to G Auntie Lindsay up to make the books. And she found pictures of Tom. Tom was an amazingly long-lived cat. Born sometime in the 80s and died in the early noughties. He lived a very long time, but he was so loyal. Loyal, long-lived and legendary. That cat would walk you to school to a certain point, sit on a post and watch you go off to school. And if a dog came near you or anything he didn't like, he would bound over and get in between you and whatever it was that was the threat. When you came back from school, he'd be waiting on that post to escort you home. He'd also dive bomb my baby sister as she was climbing the stairs. And you just hear a scream of, "Ah, the cat's got me." Wonderful, legendary Tom. So my niece has been putting pictures of Tom, pictures of my dad. Nice memories. Memories that she doesn't really have, but she's just seen a sweet picture. Put it up on the family chat. And we've all been talking about it. It's quite sweet. So I didn't talk to my mum very long at first because she was with Irene waiting for a taxi talking to Alan. But when she got home, she rang and we had another little chat. You never guess who picked me up in the taxi. Well, I wouldn't have a clue, but as she knows everybody in the town, it could have literally been anybody who's took a job as a taxi driver. Apparently it was David, and David lived next door but one to Alan. Well, his mum and dad did, except they've moved to a bungalow now. David picked my mum and Irene up, and he said, "Pat, what are you doing here? I was talking about you the other day with my mum. We were on about the back garden." So my mum said to David, "And what are the rules of the back garden?" And this 40-odd-year-old man chimed out straight away. No swearing, no throwing, no lying. Those 3 things would get you banned from the back garden. So my mum was saying, "Don't you remember David?" And I was like, "No, Mum, I think he was one of the people who played in the garden without us." She said, "Well, it's all right. He's a lovely lad." And I just thought, isn't it wonderful how we all connect? And we all can know one another. Such joy in that kind of connection of a big sycamore tree in a big back garden, where a dad who's not very good at DIY managed to build a sandpit and put some swings in, and a rockery, and a lawn that was mowed, and a mum who'd come out with cheese sandwiches and ice pops, homemade of course. She wasn't the only kind mum in that area. There was another mum who lived in the posh houses across the backs. They were known in like Wigan or a Ginnell. That means like a service road that runs along the backs of the houses. It's where you put your bins out and things like that. There was a lady called Joan, and she was quite posh. She was a matron. But she would come out in the summer, because all the kids were playing the backs. If you weren't in the back garden, you were in the backs. And she would bring out ice pops in the summer and warm fairy cakes or biscuits in the winter, just out the oven. I know I'm looking back with rose-tinted glasses, but these are the sort of things you put in your pocket full of happiness. And I know that my child had a different childhood, but there were still adventures, still heroes, still kind neighbours. We lived in a house in Cambridge when we moved there when she was about 4. And the neighbour next door but one way, was a doctor who had a daughter who was older than Lily. But sometimes they would get together and play. And on the other side was a retired teacher who loved Lily. And Lily loved her. She would jump on a trampoline and bounce high, and I would hear her shouting, and I'd go to the back door and she'd be having a conversation with Joan a couple of houses away. Soon Joan was teaching her how to do things like play the recorder, bake some cakes. A lovely little friendship. So kindness can be anywhere. So it made me think about pocketfuls of happiness. I thought that's what we're going to do tonight. Pocketfuls of happiness. So I'm just going to stitch my pocket, and I might not get all the way there before we do our meditation, because I kind of want it to sort of not be too long tonight. I want to encourage you to find that pocket full of happiness. It could just be your crafting. I think that's more than enough in some ways. It could be a beloved pet, adventures from when you were a child. It could be the things you did when you were young, holidays and adventures. Slinging 5 bikinis in a backpack, getting an easy flight to Greece, having a lovely holiday for a week. It's one of my nice 20s memories. I don't have the body for that anymore, I'm afraid. Could be myriad things. Have a think. What would you put in your pocket? It could feel like small things, but it doesn't have to be monumental. Just have to remember to put them in our pocket. Then from time to time, like old photographs, get them out, have a look. And that's what we're going to do in our meditation. We're going to think about the things we can put in our pocket. Old friends, old pets, old jobs. There's some amazing jobs I've done. Books you've read, sunsets you've seen, experiences you've had, places you've visited, people you've loved, people who've loved you. They all can be put in our pocket. It doesn't have to be perfect, our pocket. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. Perfection's overrated. I think we'll have another time about perfection. I have a bit of a thing about that. Perfection and the word should. But for now, we're thinking about things that bring us moments of joy. Because moments of joy, they relax our nervous system. They actually give us a greater capacity for stress. That's why your crafting is really important. It's a tool in your arsenal for your well-being. That's why having quiet moments are important. They expand that tank that fills up when we're stressed. They allow us a little bit of relief. So, I'm going to finish this O, then I'm going to start the computer. To start to get comfy, find a comfy spot. Could be the chair you sat on. It'd be alright if you lie down on the sofa or on your bed, wherever. We can finish the pee later. Things don't have to be perfect. Keep my floss there. Boot up my computer. Find where I've written it. So, let's do it. Find that comfy spot. A peaceful position. Settle into your chair. Snuggle down onto the sofa. Relax. Allow your body to feel supportive and heavy. If it feels right, close your eyes. Or you can simply soften your gaze. We're going to do some breathing. Take a deep, slow breath in. And hold it. And as you breathe out now, imagine any busyness from your day, things you feel you need to do, melt away. It'll be there at the end. You don't need to carry it for now. Take another deep breath in. Fill your lungs. And a long, slow breath out. Let go. Relax. Now, imagine a small, soft pocket. It could be any colour, any texture you wish. It might be a pocket on the clothes that you're wearing now, or one purely from your imagination. This is a special pocket, your own pocket of happiness. Let your mind gently drift over your day. Perhaps the past week. It could be further back. It could be last summer, or Christmas, or when you were 5. Drift back to a happy point. Look for small, happy moments, just like treasures waiting to be found. It could be the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of laughter, that first cup of tea or coffee in the morning. When you've done a small task and you feel satisfied, it could be a message from a friend. Each time you recall one of these small, bright moments, in your mind, pick it up like it's a beautiful pebble. Feel its shape and warmth in your hand, and then gently put it in your pocket. Perhaps you can find another one, a moment of peace. Bright white puffy clouds in a blue sky. A song that makes you want to tap your feet or sing. See the moment. Feel the happiness and place it carefully into your pocket alongside the others, safe and sound. Feel the gentle weight of this pocket. It's not heavy, but it's full of warm comfort and light, full of personal joy. Now that this pocket is always with you, and when you need a reminder of the good that exists in your life, you can remember your pocket and mentally reach in and touch one of these happy memories. Feel its warmth. Let it fill you with peace and love. So take one long final breath, gently in. And as you breathe out, bring your awareness back to the room. Notice the air on your skin, the surface beneath you, the feel of your clothes. When you're ready, you can slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Have a stretch. Open your eyes gently. And carry the feeling of a pocket full of happiness with you as you continue your day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking part. Thank you for being here. If you found value, please press like. Let me know in the comments. I'm always so pleased to hear from you. And subscribe to the Vintage Button. Good night, everyone.